Burger King once released a black bunned burger for Halloween. Looked creepy, tasted fine, until customers discovered the dye they'd used in the bun had a strange side effect. It turned their toilet bowl into an impromptu midnight rave. That's right, their poop was fluoro green. Turns out black dye is usually made from mixing lots of random colours, some of which your body doesn't always break down. The end result was one of the more memorable marketing campaigns, just not for the reasons Burger King had hoped. Okay, I know I'm a little late. Halloween's over, but the spookiness lives on. Here's 20 facts about Halloween that'll haunt your brain. In 2008, Doritos launched a horror game called Hotel 626. It could only be played between 6 PM to 6 AM, where players would navigate through creepy hotel rooms all on their computer. But the scary part is that at a point in the game, it asked for your phone number. After you entered it, the game would call your actual phone in the middle of the night. The caller went on to say, if you want to get out of here alive, do exactly as I say. Doritos took it to a whole new level. But Hollywood had a different take. Every time a new Saw movie hit cinemas, the studio would launch a real Halloween blood drive. Mobile donation vans popped up all over, offering donors free movie tickets for pints of blood. Over the years, they collected enough blood to save more than 360,000 lives. Who'd have thought one of the goriest movie franchises actually saved more lives than it ended on screen? And speaking of screens, on Halloween night in 1992, BBC One aired a show called Ghostwatch. It looked like a real-life investigation of a haunted house. There were real BBC presenters, shaky cameras, and a terrified family claiming their house was haunted. The show was scripted, but no one told the public. Some people genuinely thought they were witnessing real-life demonic possession on national television. They got over 30,000 complaints. Women reportedly went into premature labour, and the show was banned for good. It still remains one of the biggest TV hoaxes in history. Then there's the Halloween tradition called the Teal Pumpkin Project. If you see a teal-coloured pumpkin on someone's porch, it means they're offering allergy-friendly treats, like small toys or stickers instead of lollies. It started in 2014 to make trick-or-treating safer for kids with food allergies. And now it's spread across the world. A simple idea that made Halloween that little more enjoyable for all. And all these treats get expensive, especially for families with pets. Americans spend a ridiculous amount of money dressing up their pets for Halloween. In 2018 alone, it was just under $500 million. Yes, for pet costumes. There's dogs dressed as pumpkins, hot dogs, and bumblebees. It's cute, but pretty insane when you realise this is more than the GDP of some small nations. And that doesn't even include the costumes people buy for themselves. The top trending Halloween costumes in 2024 was Shrunken Head Bob from Beetlejuice, followed closely by the emotions from Inside Out 2, joy, anxiety, and envy. Basically, everyone either wanted to have a cursed shrunken head or be a walking mood swing. It says a lot about our times. I mean, Freddy Krueger's out and anxiety is in. Just like the anxiety when someone says trick instead of treat. Back before trick-or-treating became a thing, people in Scotland and Ireland practiced something called Guising, short for disguising. Kids would dress up and go door to door to perform songs or rhymes in exchange for food or coins. The whole demanding free lollies wasn't a thing. It was a bunch of travelling buskers singing for their supper. Why do we associate witches with broomsticks? It goes back to old pagan rituals. People once used potent herbal flying ointments made from hallucinogenic plants that caused intense out-of-body sensations. Users genuinely believed their spirits were lifting out of their bodies. Because the herbs were dangerous to swallow, the ointment was absorbed through the skin, often applied using broom handles. So when someone was found in the woods with a broom lying next to them, claiming they'd been flying, the only obvious conclusion was witchcraft. Carved pumpkins are a staple of Halloween, but it actually all started with turnips. People would hollow out big turnips, carve scary faces into them, and place embers inside to ward off spirits. When the tradition came to the US, pumpkins took over. Turns out the modern jack-o'-lantern started as a root vegetable with anger issues. The jack-o'-lantern's name has some interesting origins too. It comes from the legend of Stingy Jack, an Irish trickster who tried to outsmart the devil. Long story short, he ended up cursed to wander the earth forever, lighting his way with a burning coal inside a carved turnip. Lanterns with faces became a symbol of Halloween as a way to mimic Jack's wandering soul. So really, they should be called Stingy jack-o'-lanterns. Picking up a spider on Halloween night is considered good luck. Still wouldn't suggest it though. Old folklore says it means the spirit of a loved one is visiting you. Spiders were seen as messengers between worlds, weaving connections between the living and the dead. There's something creepily poetic in that, but again, please don't go picking up spiders. The classic Halloween colours, orange and black. They're not just random colours. Orange comes from the harvest season. It represents life, warmth, and the final glow of the season before everything goes cold. Black, on the other hand, symbolises death, the thinning veil between worlds, and the long winter darkness ahead. Put them together and you've got the perfect mix of celebration and spookiness. And speaking of spooky, have you ever heard of Samhainophobia? It's the real medical term for the fear of Halloween. People with it experience panic attacks, nausea, and extreme anxiety. All those skeletons, fake blood, and glowing pumpkins don't exactly make things easier. It's named after Samhain, the ancient Celtic festival that inspired Halloween in the first place. Bit ironic that the celebration of fear literally gave birth to a fear of itself. Figure that one out. And back to that festival, the Celtic festival of Samhain was one of the core roots of Halloween. It marked the end of the harvest and the start of winter, when the line between the living and the dead was believed to be at its thinnest. It's what started the idea of Halloween, where people lit bonfires and wore costumes to scare off ghosts. It all traces back to ancient farmers battling it out against the afterlife. And people even celebrate Halloween Eve. Mischief Night, also known as Devil's Night or Gate Night, is basically the warm-up to Halloween. It happens on October 30th, a night dedicated to pranks, toilet-papered trees, and moderate levels of vandalism. It started in the 1700s as a way for kids to gear up for the big event. In some US cities, though, it got a bit out of hand. Detroit's Devil's Night once saw whole neighborhoods set on fire. They didn't do much trick-or-treating that year. There's an old medieval belief that witches could transform into black cats at will, shapeshifting to spy on people or avoid capture. That's why black cats became symbols of witchcraft, and the superstition still lingers. In Spain, one city suspended all black cat adoptions from October to November, citing concerns around cats being adopted as living decorations, or even for creepy Halloween rituals. They say black cats are bad luck. Well, being one on Halloween certainly is. Scrying is an old Halloween ritual where women would stare into mirrors or candle flames in the hope they'd glimpse their future husband. They'd sit perfectly still, watching the shadows behind them, waiting for a figure to form in the reflection. But it didn't always end in romance. Story goes that if a skull appeared instead of a lover's face, it meant death before marriage. Really puts a downer on the celebration. In 2015, Influenster, a US consumer review platform that surveys product preferences, polled over 42,000 Americans to find each state's favourite Halloween candy. Reese's Pieces peanut butter cups dominated the map, but surprisingly, a handful of rogue states put candy corn in the top spot. Halloween just got scarier when you realise that some people actually like candy corn. Stephen Clark holds the world record for the fastest pumpkin carving. 16.4 seconds flat. The rules were it had to have eyes, a nose, a mouth, and still look like an actual jack-o'-lantern. A little terrifying how someone could move that fast with sharp objects. The Usain Bolt of Halloween. And that's all the freaky Halloween facts I've got. Whether it's the creepy Doritos horror game that calls your phone in the middle of the night, to the reason why witches and broomsticks go hand in hand. If you want more random, less Halloween related facts, check these ones out. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.